Good evening and a very, very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's episode 2 for 2022, and my name is Tonci Prusac, and joining me, as he does week in, week out, Steve Curtin. Steve, a very warm welcome to you. How are you? How are you, my friend?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tonci. Feeling pretty excited, actually. It's been a lovely public holiday in Geelong and just been out for my pre-show warm-up along the waterfront there, and a lot of people out enjoying some nice summer weather that's continuing into autumn, which is fantastic, and hopefully that continues for the upcoming season, because we've got men's NPL and state league starting this Saturday across Geelong, and some of our teams on the road in Melbourne, and it's very exciting. And it's it's that time of year that we all get a little bit excited about football again after a bit of a lull, after just sort of following a few friendlies. There's been a bit of cup action, but now it's the real stuff. It's finally here. How are you feeling?
Mate, you just took the words out of my mouth. I think you've been on the show now for 4 years, so there's a bit of a telepathic agreement happening between the two of us. But I was about to say, as a kid, I used to love summer. I used to love spring as I got older, but now spring just involves a swooping season. Down here in Lara's snakes that come out, hay fever, which is the worst, and probably the worst thing of them all, the end of the soccer season. But guess what? This time now, it's a whole different ball game. And guess what? It is the most exciting time of the year. I tell you what, winter season is about to start. The local region is just in anticipation of what we hope will be an uninterrupted 2022 season, and I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. I have to say that to just, say
it twice
to reiterate it. Yeah. Mate, we've got a massive show coming on ahead of us tonight. Tell us what's on the cards for episode 74 of the Oz Crows Soccer Show.
Yeah, we've got an exciting one, because we're going to profile the Masters Summer League. So it's into their third season, so it's very exciting, and the evolution of that competition we'll be talking about tonight. It's gone from strength to strength, and the rumor that I'm hearing is that if you want to get a start in one of these teams, good luck, because it's so popular now that it's very hard to get a look in. And of course, they've got their own range of beer now that we'll talk about later on as well, which is obviously fantastic. But it's very exciting. So we've got Ross Abraham and Simon Blanch coming on to talk about how things are going with the Masters Summer League, and that's I think that's in its penultimate rounds before the finals. So a couple of weeks to go, and finals time will be here for that competition. And we've got another guest as well coming on by the name of Chiller as well, to talk about a product that's being supported by the Masters Summer League as well, haven't we, Tonj?
Yeah, Chilla Tuikolo is the man, and he's one of the sponsors there, and probably, I guess, the man responsible or behind the Masters Summer League Lager. So that'll be great to hear. I can't wait for that. And obviously, look, lots and lots of news to get through as well. Heaps of news, and we've got some fantastic episodes coming up over the next few weeks. We've got a lot of clubs that have either the clubs themselves, or their very, very loyal sponsors have come out and supported what we're doing here as well, but also supporting their club. So we'll talk a bit about that later on in the show. But mate, you're going to get ready now to get get on with the news desk. So we'll let you get on with the news desk. And folks, don't go away. It's episode 2 of season 4. And before we go any further, have a look up the top there and down the bottom. If you've missed an episode, why not catch all the replays on our YouTube channel? So subscribe to the exclusive Geelong Region Soccer Show YouTube channel. You may be watching this on YouTube Live now. You may be watching it on Facebook Live. Here's a tip. On YouTube, it's a bit of a better quality. But don't go away, folks. We'll be back with the news desk straight after this. Steve, over to you, mate. What's making news?
All right, well, this is the news desk for Monday, the 14th of March, 2022. We start tonight with the Nike FC Cup, the women's state-based knockout cup competition that continued over the weekend. And it was a good weekend for Geelong Rangers, who, as you can see, their lineup from the game yesterday, they were 4-0 winners, very convincing winners over Port Melbourne. So they go through and into the hat for the next round, which will be drawn out tomorrow. The final score 4-0. Rachel Zara, 2 goals in her Rangers debut, which is a fantastic way to start, as well as Danny Mandich and Ali Van Dalen also on the score sheet. So a great result for Rangers. Meanwhile, Lara, they unfortunately had to forfeit their game, which was going to be played at Mill Park. So Mill Park will go through. And
no, it's the other way around. It's the other way around.
Oh, Sports TG has sold me down the river, mate.
Oh, no. We've got 4 Geelong teams in the Nike FC Cup. In the next one, it is definitely confirmed. It was definitely confirmed by Lara United last week. In fact, that Mill Park actually had forfeited. So North Geelong and Lara go through because of a forfeit. And
Sports
Rangers
TG want to iron that out. They've got Mill Park 3, Lara United 0 on my screen here.
I think they've got a few bad results as well with regards to some of the juniors games as well. That was.
I'm glad you're on top of that one, mate. That's why you're on the big bucks. Now, North Geelong Warriors was due to play Deakin Uni as well, and that match is listed as a forfeit as well. A forfeit by Deakin, putting North Geelong Warriors through to the next round as well, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, the other club that would join these clubs in the hat for the next round will be Geelong Galaxy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So 4 Geelong clubs in the next round of the Nike FC Cup. Stay tuned, folks. That is going to be drawn tomorrow. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. That should be really good.
Very good. Now we'll move along to the men's knockout cup competition, the Australia Cup, and we've got 3 teams currently in action in that one as well. So it's an all NPL 2 tie for North Geelong Warriors. They've been drawn away at Moreland City. That match is tentatively listed as being on the 23rd of March. We'll see, though. That is still TBA. Another match that's TBA, Geelong, they've been drawn against Heidelberg United. So Heidelberg United, obviously a former NSL powerhouse, now in the top tier of NPL Victoria, having their first win yesterday as well after a shocking start to the season for George Katsakis' side. So, interesting tie there, that one. Geelong of NPL 3 against Heidelberg United of NPL 1. And then an all-state league battle as well, where we've got a southwest and a northeast, with Eltham Redbacks and Corio being drawn to play at Eltham North Reserve. And that match has got a scheduled time. That is Tuesday, the 29th of March, a 7:45 start at Eltham North Reserve.
Now, Steve, do you know, I mean, during my research, I found out that Eltham Redbacks are one of the biggest clubs in Victoria. They've got something like 900 registered players. Amazing. Like, that is insane. 900 registered players. That's probably, I don't know, double the biggest Geelong club as far as registrations is concerned. That's
fantastic. They've got an excellent facility too, if you've ever been up there, just on the banks of the Diamond Creek there, and synthetic pitches, and for obviously to cater for that amount of players, they need synthetic pitches, right? So a good facility there. That'll be a good tie as well, Eltham Redbacks and Corio, and hopefully our local boys can get through.
There's Santino Mamoni, the number 1 ticket holder at Corio. Well, maybe not, but certainly the number 1 ticket holder here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Such a big fan of our programs. A big shout out to Santino. He says, fire up Corio, and he's always promoting our show. So good on Santino. So he's very active in the comments section tonight. as is our friend Brenton Ray. So do drop us a comment in the comments section, just so that we know that people are listening to us. But we know people are listening to us. We just want people to be, I guess, a little bit more active as well, and be an integral part of this show and an interactive part of this show. Steve, what's next on the news desk?
Yeah, let's move along. We're going to talk about Lucas Skoko and Nicholas Vlahovic, because they were as part of a fantastic interview last Wednesday night on the Oz Crow football show, which is hosted by a familiar face that you may or may not know. And we're going to play a snippet from that interview now, I think.
Yep.
I think to be able to get to where you are. Well, first off, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make. Just small ones, like not going to parties or, resting on a Friday night before a game. Obviously, eating healthy, drinking healthy, but you can't go out every weekend partying and stuff, because you've got to make these small sacrifices. You have training during the week, at a big game on the weekend. Also, sacrifice, for example, now going overseas, moving to a different country without family. It's hard sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'm here to play football, and that's obviously a part of it, making a lot of sacrifices. So
I'd say that's the biggest sacrifice by far. Obviously, putting behind everything that we know, going to a new country with a different culture, everything's so different, and just challenging yourself to see how far you can go.
Great interview that with Nicholas Vlahovic and Lucas Skoko, two ex-North Geelong Warriors young guns. Luca, in fact, last year took out the best and fairest in the senior team. Nicholas had a breakthrough year where he came on several times throughout the season and did very, very well. That is available on the Oz Crow Soccer Show YouTube channel. So Oz Crow Soccer Show YouTube channel. In fact, in our comment section, we'll probably put a link there as well, so you'll be able to go straight onto that link. It's a brilliant interview. That snippet there was gold. Like, there was 60 seconds of just absolute brilliant advice for any young player wanting to, crack it in the big time. And look, Steve, I guess we've got Angus Chapman, former Geelong Rangers boy, who's over in the UK at the moment. We've got Skoko and Vlahovic now in Croatia.
And Nicholas Scott Nitzer as well travelled across to Europe a little bit before Luca and Nicholas. So I'm interested to hearing how Nick Scott Nitzer is going over there as well. Haven't heard any updates.
Hopefully we'll be able to get him on the show either in a couple of weeks' time or in a couple of months' time. I do believe he is in Greece at the moment, undergoing intense training, supposedly for a 2-month spell ahead of trials later on in this year with various clubs around Europe. So brilliant to see, brilliant to know that there are a lot of these young, they're all teenagers, I think. In fact, they are, trying to crack the big time in Europe. And look, I'm just going through some of the juniors, the junior NPL, both with Geelong, North Geelong. In North Geelong in particular, all of their 4 teams are doing really, really well, either first, second or third position. Galaxy as well. There's a lot of talented young lasses coming through the ranks as well. So in years to come, we can expect a lot of young talent from the Geelong region to try and make it big, whether it be in Europe, whether it be outside of Geelong. So those words, those pieces of advice are absolute gold. And speaking of, I guess, the next generation of talent, the Matildas are planning on a home in Melbourne. And Steve, you've got some really interesting information about that.
Yeah, well, that construction is underway there at Bundoora. I believe it's the adjacent to the site where Melbourne City was using as their base before they moved out to Casey. So that site's underway, and I believe there's hope to obviously have that ready to go for the Women's World Cup next year. So that'll be turbocharged acceleration to that project to get that one going as well. And speaking of construction as well, we're hearing that the training pitch component, at least at the Western United ground out at the back of Tarneit, will be ready to go in mid-2023 as well, also ahead of the Women's World Cup. So some good football infrastructure popping up out of the ground finally.
Yeah,
But will we see some popping up out of the ground in the Geelong region this year or next year? That's the question.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. I mean, there is talk of the G20 document, which was, that was done a decade or so ago. There is talk that may be updated. There is a $50,000 grant, I suppose, from the City of Greater Geelong that has been allocated to the Geelong Region Football Committee to come up with basically a master plan, a blueprint for a regional football facility here in Geelong. So hopefully maybe in weeks to come, we might even catch up with either our old friend Eddie Contel, Councillor Eddie Contel from the City of Greater Geelong, or Kylie Grisbeck as well, another councillor, or the chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, Mike McKinstry himself. So stay tuned, folks. That's probably going to be coming up in the next few weeks, episodes. A lot happening. And more in the news desk, Steve. What else is happening?
All right, let's push on to our next item. We've got so many items in this news desk as well, haven't we? Just touching on the Masters Summer League. They are 2 rounds to go until the finals, and we've got the fixtures for next round coming up, and the results from the weekend to show you, as well as the points table, where I believe West Point, the Raiders from the western suburbs of Melbourne, are the league leaders at the moment, but that might be a spoiler alert, so I won't say too much more, and we'll save that for our chat with Ross and Simon. It's coming up right after the news break, Tonci. Following on from that as well, next news item was last night, Football Out West Show was lucky enough to have an interview with one of the top commentators. You hear him on Optus Sports on the world feed for the EPL. He commentated on the game between Arsenal and Leicester at the Emirates last night as well. And before he did that, he came on the Football Out West Show for a chat with us. And he's a superstar of the football commentary industry who's been involved in 6 World Cups, 4 Euros, 30 years in the business, and one of the great commentators going around there, right up there with Peter Drury as well, in the most adored and admired commentators, I suppose, in the top flight of the top league in the world.
Yeah, a great interview. Unfortunately, we had some technological issues and what you're not, but that was a bit of a pain in the rear end, I suppose. But nonetheless, look, at the end of the day, a brilliant interview. He's the voice of the EPL. Once again, go over to the Football Out West Soccer Show. Sorry, the YouTube channel, I'm thinking. The Football Out West Soccer Show. Football Out West Show, YouTube channel. It's all there. You can catch all the replay there as well.
That's right. And he filled us in on his funniest story as well as a commentator, which was quite outrageous. And it's not in the YouTube video, so maybe we can save that up or should we tell that now? I'm not too sure.
Tell that story. We can tell that story.
It was certainly, it was as he made an apology for, it wasn't the most highbrow or sophisticated moment of comedy, but it was to do with a gentleman sitting in front of him at a match that had eaten something that obviously didn't agree with him. And after several episodes of some bad odors being emitted from this gentleman, it was impossible for Jim not to make mention of it in the commentary. Such was the experience sitting nearby this man. And he said that fortunately he did not return for the second half, this gentleman.
Yeah, that was a hilarious story. That was really, really funny. Mate, we've got heaps and heaps to get through. We've got also all the State League fixtures coming up. But look, before we do that, we're going to take a very, very, very quick break. And when we return, we're going to go through some of the main fixtures involving the Geelong NPL and State League clubs straight after the break, with the season starting this weekend. Don't go away, folks. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's episode 74, or as we're calling it, season 4, episode 2. And this week's episode is proudly sponsored by the Masters Summer League. And we are going to have two of the co-organisers from the Masters Summer League joining us very, very shortly in Simon Blanch and Ross Abraham, and also one of the major sponsors from Brewery Colo, Chiller Tui Colo. He'll be joining us a little bit later on in the show as well. A lot to talk about there. But Steve, in the meantime, it's all about the start of the season this week. The NPL 2, NPL 3, and the state leagues kick off this week as well. So let's quickly go. First of all, look at the NPL 2 fixtures featuring our own North Geelong Warriors, the region's highest ranked club. They'll take on Northcote City, a tough game. That at John Cain Reserve on Saturday. Kickoff is there at 3 p.m.
Yeah, Craig Filer actually commentated on this particular fixture at John Cain last year, and ended up finishing in a 1-1 draw from memory. So it was, I think, Michael Anderson scoring late, and North thought they'd won the game and then conceded a sloppy goal in the very final minute. So North Geelong will be looking to atone for that, I think, and try and get a good start to the season. And their star recruit in the summer is Caleb Mikulich, coming in from the Melbourne Knights. He scored in the final of the Geelong Community Cup, and looking forward to seeing what he can produce playing at the NPL 2 level. I think he should go pretty well. So, yeah, how do you think North will go this season?
Mate, I haven't seen him much in action. Mikulich is going to be a big signing there. I guess he's a straight swap for Michael Anderson, who has retired, as you mentioned. Mikulich, he was a kind of a fringe player at the Knights, although I think he was certainly a lot better than, probably wasn't given the opportunities. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he has come down to North Geelong Warriors, although, he might be, and that might be one of the reasons. Look, I think the Warriors will do well. They've got some very, very good young players. One of those is Luka Jurkovic, an absolute gun, an absolute star. He's a target man. And with the fact, last year he's a youngster,
yeah,
and he was really shadowed by a lot of the defenders, in the shortened season last year, because they were aware that he was a real danger player. But look, there's with Mikulich maybe providing a little bit of that diversion, and then look, you've still got Captain Ryan Opperman, who can score quite a fair few goals as well in an attacking midfield role. I think the Warriors are going to score a lot of goals this year. I think they're going to surprise quite a few teams, but they are already being labelled by some pundits as a team to watch in NPL 2. So that's going to be interesting. Look, I think there's going to be a lot of young players that are going to be making their way into the team. And yep, they've lost Skoko, they've lost Valarovic, but and Anderson, but I think they'll be their replacements will be more than worthy. So yeah, expect some good things from the Warriors this year.
Absolutely. So, and also in the NPL, we've got Geelong Soccer Club in NPL 3, and they are a part of a all regional Victorian derby up at Moorshead Park on Saturday, where they're playing Ballarat City. So, I'm going to tip Geelong to get the points in this one. Ballarat City didn't have a great season last year, and I haven't heard too many murmurs out of Moorshead Park about any star recruits, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'm tipping Geelong to get the win in this one. I haven't heard a lot of movements for recruits at Geelong. I'm not sure about yourself, but we're looking forward to seeing what names are on the team sheet on Saturday for Geelong Soccer Club to get a bit of a gauge of how they'll perform this year.
Yeah, no, it will be an interesting season. Ballarat City, I don't know if it's true. Sebastopol Vikings in State 3 played Barwon in the Australia Cup a couple of weeks ago. I'm not too sure if this is true, but there's a couple of veteran Ballarat City players that have
Remain boys.
Yes. That have been signed by Sebastopol in State 3. So I'm not sure if that's an indication of some of the other players, but yeah, not much seems to be. One thing about Ballarat City, they do struggle for depth. So they may at the start of the season be a very, very difficult team. They sort of then flounder, but look, our focus is on the Geelong teams, and Geelong Soccer Club, I think, will do quite well. They have picked up a few good players, and their pre-season form has been pretty good. We saw that in the Geelong Community Cup as well. So if we've got anyone from the Geelong Soccer Club, they're a little bit coy when it comes to publicity. We find them very hard to sort of get some information out of Geelong. But if anyone from the Geelong Soccer Club is on the watching us right now, do in the comments section say who are some of the players to look out for down at Stead Park this year. But one thing we did mention Jurkovic, Luka Jurkovic at North. His brother Krešo is at Geelong Soccer Club, and now their other brother, the older brother Nikola, is at St Albans Dynamo in the state in the NPL 1 competition. So for the second year running, there's a Jurkovic brother playing in every one of the NPL divisions. That's pretty amazing.
There wouldn't be too many families that have ticked off all 3 NPLs in one season, but there you go. That's a great start.
You did mention the Romain brothers at Ballarat City. Were there 2 or 3 of them?
I think there was 3, but they were all in the one one squad there.
Yeah. That's an amazing outcome as well. Yeah. Mate, State 1. Right. This one is going to be a very interesting division.
That's right. This is the Santino Mamone State League 1, State League 1 men's, and so we've got Corail at the top of the list there. They're off to the Italia club to play Brimbank Stallions this weekend, and Santino's pretty excited to get along there because Corail played Geelong in a friendly on Thursday night and had a 1-0 win in that match, and Chol Gabriel scored the goal, and Santino's expecting big things out of Chol this season. I think he's going to go pretty well, and they've got the veteran Trent Waterson, who I've been told to mention as well, who actually played juniors against in Bendigo, so he's obviously only 21 years of age actually. I think he plays in defence now, so he brings a lot of experience to the squad too, and they've retained a lot of those experienced players like Prince Agali and in the middle of the park there as well. So they'll do pretty well, I think. Corail to I guess the objective last year was more avoiding relegation, but hopefully they can push more of a mid-table position this year.
But they are up against some formidable opponents. Brimbank Stallions is the first one. Definitely a team that is going to be pushing for promotion, as are Caroline Springs, George Cross. But Banyule City and Essendon Roars is another one. But Banyule City is a club that has always been sort of pushing kind of up near the top in years gone by. They've reportedly... Big spenders, major spenders. And former Corail player Ethan Gage, who then went to Bentley Greens, then went to Caroline Springs. He's been snapped by Banyule City. And according to our colleague Craig Filer from the Football Out West show, big money has been offered for Gage. So the money that is being thrown around State 1. And look, you then go, other clubs, Altona City, they're going to be a difficult side. Sydenham Park as well. They're always a tough opposition there as well. Strathmore Split, they're going to have Brendan Santalab, ex-A-League player, who's also going to be playing captaining and coaching, or player coach as well. So this is going to be a very, very interesting division. For Corail, I'm tipping them to do reasonably well. I mean, if they can get mid-table, that's an incredible result. But I think for them, I think they're going to avoid relegation pretty safely is my tip. State 2, mate.
Next up, Geelong Rangers, another club. We haven't heard too much about their recruits in the off-season. They're off to play Westgate on the weekend. So, it'd be a tough assignment there for Geelong, who had a tricky season, you'd say, last year in the abandoned season. So, again, there'll be another one. We look forward to seeing what names are on the team sheet come Saturday to find out if they've actually recruited. But one thing about Geelong Rangers is they have been bringing through a lot of really good young players, and let's see if the fruits of their labour can really start to flourish in 2022 season. And I think that might actually happen.
Yeah, good first up test against Westgate on Westgate's turf.
Yep.
It's going to be a good one. Okay, moving along. We've got so much to get through and we are running out of time. State 4, Golden Plains, they're hosting Westside Strikers, Caroline Springs. Bell Park are at home to the newly promoted Keilor Wolves. Watch out for the Keilor Wolves. They're going to be a dangerous side.
They are a good team. Giant killers.
But Bell Park, under Tony Hayes, they've amassed a very young squad. I believe it's going to be a very exciting squad. They picked up a couple of ex-North Geelong NPL youth players as well. So there's going to be some interest there as well. And Surf Coast, they are away to Spring Hills, another tough team, Spring Hills. And Surf Coast will be an interesting side. I think they picked up some really good players. And I tell you what, I think they're going to be giving it a good shake. They always do every year for promotion. But I think out of the 3 clubs there, in the 3 Geelong clubs in State 4, my tip is that Surf Coast will be the one closest to promotion.
Yeah, they'll be probably neck and neck out of Surf Coast and Bell Park there for the Geelong-based clubs. Golden Plains, a little bit of an unknown quantity. Very hard season last year. Good on them for getting a 3rd place in their own home tournament, the Country to Coast Cup, a couple of weeks ago, and obviously Surf Coast for winning that one. So yeah, Rob Panetta's side should do pretty well, and there's even some very unfounded rumours that Adrian Layer might even pull the boots on for Surf Coast this season. I would be very surprised if that was to happen, but you never know. Stranger things could happen, I suppose.
You never know.
And Bell Park, very stacked Sunday team, so they've definitely cleared out the old boys and brought in a youth policy there, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and finally, mate, take us through the State 5.
State 5, aka the Geelong division here. So we've got a derby almost every week in this competition, haven't we? First round, we've got one straight away. Deakin Uni versus Barwon. Barwon always hard to beat. They've picked up Tom Banks, the keeper from Coriolis. They've brought back in James Tonci as well. They always seem to be signing good quality players. They've still got young striker Milton Bailey scoring a few goals already in the cup competition. Lara United, not too sure. They got their new coach announced earlier in the preseason, Eric Lawrence. They look like a team on the rise. And who else we got in their surf side as well? They're off to Melton, Phoenix, and haven't heard too much about surf side. I think they might even be bringing in a new coach as well. Yeah,
I think they've been forced to do so, and I think they're going to struggle. I'm hearing that they're struggling with players. Barwon are going to be a standout. They picked up some very good players in the off season. They've had a very good pre-season run in the Australia Cup. Deakin University always between those two, and what a first up derby that's going to be. Cannot wait for that. But my tip is Lara United are going to be the dark horse, and I guess this is an opportune time to say that Lara United will be our featured club next week, our club in focus in next week's edition of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. So no doubt we'll probably have Eric Lawrence, the new Lara coach, on next week's program, and we'll be able to hear from the horse's mouth what has been happening in the off season there. More developments at hand in the last 24 hours with the announcement that futsal may be coming back to Geelong, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a graphic on your screen there. Futsal's back. Who's ready? There's going to be some more information coming through, but it's going to be run Futsal Geelong as more of a business entity, and hopefully that will bring up the standard of the competition and the accountability to really run a really smooth competition that is rewarding for all involved. And I think there's a focus. You were saying, Tonci, focus on juniors on Saturday morning, maybe teenagers on Friday night, things like that.
They've already
things that sound really exciting.
Yeah, they've already. There's a fella from Ballarat, Dermot Tebb, who's been appointed to run it. He runs Futsal Ballarat, so it will be now run as Geelong Futsal, so it won't be known as Futsal Geelong. I guess a small name change, but they've announced that all the competitions are expected to be held at Barwon Valley Activity Centre, right there near Kmart, and in Belmont, and it will commence in term 2 of the school calendar. And the proposed weekly schedule of competitions is as follows. Mondays and Wednesdays, senior men's comp. Tuesday and Thursday, senior social competition, so men's, women's and mixed divisions. A Friday is set aside for a secondary school competition, so grade 7 through to 12. And then Saturday morning, I dare say, will be primary school competitions from prep to grade 6. Now, that will all obviously depend on level of interest, because generally speaking, you struggle at this time of year with everyone tending to play winter competition. You might not have as much interest happening in the futsal game. That's usually traditionally a big thing in the off season. Correct? Yeah, mate. I think that's it. Is that right?
That's all. In lieu of us forming a futsal team now with the guys, our guest tonight, perhaps. Yeah, let's move on to our guest. So we need to take a quick break first.
We do. Don't go away, folks. When we return, it's all about the Masters Summer League. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Steve, it's time now we bring our guests on. Can't wait for this. This is going to be really, really exciting and interesting. And we're going to be talking all about the Masters Summer League. So it's an absolute pleasure to bring onto the screen, onto the show, to our two co-organisers and guests for tonight, Simon Blanch and Ross Abraham. Gentlemen, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Well, we've got Simon communicating clearly with Ross is having one or two sound issues. We'll start with you, perhaps, Simon. Did you want to just as a opener, did you want to just update us on the latest round that took place on Saturday? Who was hosting and how did it all go?
Yeah. So Barwon SC hosted the round. There's a couple of interesting games. There's been a lot of banter this year. There's been a lot of to and fro. A lot of it is quite hilarious. Even the referee's been getting involved in some of the banter at some stages. It's something that the games have been played in good spirits, but they have been very competitive. It's something that we don't want to discourage because everyone's got different reasons for getting out there. And I know that we talk about inclusion for mental health and getting people out on a pitch. I had someone come up to me the other day, when's the game going to be up on YouTube? I scored my first ever goal. So and another guy said to me, I'm really enjoying the games being up on YouTube because my dad's watching back in the UK. So it's been really good.
Yeah, as we can see, we've got some footage there of one of the games that has been played recently, and that was played on. That was actually played on the 14th of February, so that was down at Shell Reserve. And you've got your own VO camera, as we can see that little logo on the right-hand side of the screen. A few of the clubs around Geelong have got it. How good is that? Like, for those uninitiated, tell us what the VO camera does, Simon.
It pretty much follows the actual shape of the ball. So there's two cameras that are actually sort of based in one unit, and they sort of take a half of the pitch each. But it follows the actual ball. What you can do if you're a coach, you can zoom in, you can sort of take snippets of the game. But what we like to do is just broadcast the whole game. We've had you out there, Tonci, actually talking over the top of a game because a lot of the time all you can hear is the actual wind blowing. It's up on a mast. So we try to put like a dub of a sort of pitch report and a sort of commentary over the top of it. We're trying to make it light-hearted. We're trying to make it a bit of fun. It doesn't need to be too serious, just like the actual competition itself. So it's one of these where I think the guys have been loving watching it back. So there's constant views. It's been funny because people say, watch me get this great bit of skill. Then the next minute is like, watch you sky this into nowhere. So the banter's been sort of to and fro of how good it was or how bad it was at the same time. But it's been really good to have.
Ross, I think we've now got you on audio. We've got your audio available. Ross, your now look, it's now third year, is that right? And you've got how many players playing at the moment?
Tonci, we've got approximately 250 guys playing, third season, and those guys are loving it. And you know what we've found out? As much as we're like, come and have a kick and have a bit of fun and then have a beer afterwards, older guys love to win.
Yeah.
They love to win, and they just want to win. And it doesn't matter that they're 20 years older and slower than they were. It doesn't matter that they're bald like me. It's like, cross the white line. I want to win. And see, you put the table up there, and everybody loves the table. And I think it's just been such a... it's actually great for their mental health. They're like, I've got something to try and win. Yeah. I've got something to go for.
Look, mate, when I was there that one day at Ocean Grove, it was a beautiful day, absolutely gorgeous. And myself and the third member of your illustrious trio, Barbaros, Cara, we were doing a little bit of a round the grounds report, and we actually made an intentional kind of point of going up to some of the wives, some of the kids, some of the girlfriends of the players playing. And look, as much as the blokes were all for this, the ladies were even more so. And I think one of the reasons was for that very much that mental health element. As we can see the ladder there, we've got, an entire league. I mean, there's 10, 12 teams. I think there is something
11.
like that. 11 teams. West Point, so the visitors from down the highway, they decided to enter a team. They're on top, look, sitting very pretty with 24 points. Drysdale Hotel, Batesford Hotel. So Batesford Hotel basically are the Geelong Rangers. Bowen Soccer Club, Bowen Heads, Elephant and Castle Hotel, under the auspices of Mario Gregorio. That's Corio Soccer Club in drag. FC Leopold, Ballerine Park Sharks, the Ballerine Sharks, obviously. The Hop-In, who is the Hop-In?
It'd be the
That'd
Pelicans.
be Armstrong United.
Armstrong United, excellent. And Armstrong United have now, I think, 2 years, have had a club. Where is the Hop-In, by the way?
Very close
down the Tonci freeway.
Righto. Boca Masters, who are the Boca Masters?
So they're a drinking team of guys that make up a group of guys that play indoor.
Okay.
Yep. So you talked about Adrian Leisure potentially playing for Surf Coast.
Yes.
Him and his brother have actually signed up for Boca Masters.
Are you kidding?
So one of the first names on the team sheet, I don't know if it was someone wanting to pay his red just so he could play.
Yeah.
But Adrian Leisure has actually signed up for Boca Masters.
Yep.
Well,
I can vouch that happened because I played against him.
Yeah.
He really played.
And has he still got that competitiveness about him? That took him to the upper tier of the A League and even played in South Korea, I do believe.
You know what? I think he actually stipulated that he was not to be played as a defender.
I was going to say something about that minus 18 goal difference. He mustn't have been playing defender because it would no way be like that. No chance.
He requested to play in the midfield, and I think maybe he quite correctly turned things down a notch or two for our competition.
That's a big scoop there. Adrian Lay has made a comeback to football through the Masters Summer League. Fantastic.
There we are.
And Brewery Colo as well, the other team. Are they another team, a drinking team with the football problem?
Absolutely not. They're a very competitive unit, and stuff has just not gone their way for them. They can really play. Yeah. They finished third last year.
Did they? Now we're going to have Chilla on from Brewery Colo, and look, he's just shaking his head in the green room. He's not happy about things. I think heads are going to roll. I think either that or there's going to have to be a slight change to the ingredients in the Masters beer. And speaking of which, have a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at that. You've got your own beer. Now, not too many sporting clubs, let alone organisations in the world, have their own beer. But you've got your own beer brewed by Brewery Colo. How did that come about? Either of you, gents.
I think that the key for this is that we want to do things for charity. We want to get sort of men's health out there. So a percentage of the profits that from the sales of this beer goes to the men's shed. So yes, you're probably too old to play football and want to go along to the men's shed, but it's still to get older guys out there and have an option to actually sort of interact with other like-minded people. So I think it was $1,084 so far from the sale of the beer has gone to the men's shed, which is pretty impressive. I think between myself, Babs, and Ross, we're going to bump that up to $2,000 if it
just in one night.
if it doesn't get there by itself, but it's something that we feel really sort of passionate about, and it's fantastic to have an actual beer that we've produced after the game. And it's a really nice beer as well. I'll give it that.
That sounds like the most satisfying way to end the match, I think.
I'll actually confess that I had a couple before I came on the show. It helped calm me down.
So there you go. It works for a lot of things. It's got its lots of merits.
Lots of benefits. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was talking to someone about the sound of the ball hitting the back of the net. and they were like, "That's a lovely sound, but not as good as the first beer opening after the game." So that's the sort of way we play.
Both very good sounds. All right, Ross, did you want to talk a little bit about, we were mentioning before about the evolution of the Masters Summer League over the 3 years, how it has grown and where we can see it going next year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had 8 teams in first year, which was a surprisingly large number. And then we had 10, and then we had 11. And it's been really pleasing to see it evolve. I would comment on the league at the moment that it is absolutely full of old stagers who have played pretty much all their life. And I mentioned before that they love to win. They love to win. They're just as passionate about winning as they ever were. And we have 11 teams full of that. And where we want to go really from here, I think, is to grow the appeal of our sport to guys who have not played before, and guys of lesser abilities, and guys who need just as much to get out of the house and have a kick and have a bit of fun. And I think we'd really like to appeal to not only the guys who love that table that you've just put up there and want to try and win our title, but the guys that just want to get out and have a kick with other older guys in a safe environment and enjoy a beer and meet some new mates.
I think one of the good things that we had this year for the first time, we had an over 45s sort of trial game before the season started. And we just had over 45-year-old players coming from a number of different teams just to make up sides over a weekend. And that was quite sort of well supported. We're going to try and push to get an over 35s sort of one-off women's game potentially next year. Not many people want to actually admit they're over 35 when they play in the women's game, but it's something that we're trying to sort of push for everyone of a certain age to be able to get out there and play and not have to chase some 20-year-old around. So that's the options that we're looking at.
Can you hear me, guys?
Okay, sorry, are we still on?
Yeah.
Yep. Where's Tonci gone?
We might have lost Tonci, have we?
I
Let's
think
just
we've lost Tonci.
we may. This is unprecedented.
The ratings might go up.
Take
We
charge.
might just carry on. Let's just say I'm watching the show tonight as someone who's maybe the on the wrong side of 35 and interested in being involved in this competition next year. What would be the process to get involved in the competition if people watching are interested?
Yep, absolutely. So contact our Facebook page, Masters Summer League. There's a button there to make contact with us. Send us a message. We respond to those very quickly. So if you'd like to play, a bit late for this season maybe, but if you want to be involved, send a message there.
Very good.
I'm back, guys.
He's
I'm back. I'm back. I was going to say, this weekend, is this the penultimate round, or is this the final round coming up? We've got
This penultimate. You're correct.
Penultimate, yep. So we've got the fixtures there at Geelong Soccer Club in Stead Park. At Stead Park, is that correct?
No. We're at Drysdale Soccer Club this week.
At Drysdale. Sorry, it says Geelong there. I didn't know what that meant. Okay, right. So it's at Drysdale Sporting Precinct. Drysdale kicking it off at 2 p.m. against Barn Soccer Club. A hop in taking on Elephant and Castle at 2 o'clock. 2 games at 3:30. Brewery Colo against the Rangers and Barwon Heads against West Point. And then finally, we've got Bellarine Park Sharks versus Boca Masters. Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're going to have to get it moving very, very quickly because we've still got Chiller to come on the show. But we've got some fans saying a few comments in the comments section. Chris Passer says, Ross Abraham, a.k.a. The Dentist, renowned for his in-your-face defending and leaves no opponent left guessing.
Do you want to elaborate on that, Ross?
Get down to Drysdale and you'll see it this weekend at 2 o'clock.
Isaac Ehrlich says, follows Ross Abraham's head usually. Now, I think he's talking about the VO camera, the automated camera. Yeah. And then he follows it up with another comment, the real league. And I agree with Isaac. I think this is absolutely phenomenal, and it is
Isaac,
a great concept.
Would you believe, has less hair than me, and actually the VO camera follows his head, thinking it's the ball.
There you go. There you go. Here's What are they? Yeah. All right, gents. Well, thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. Thank you also for sponsoring this episode of the what's that? It should be
Geelong
the
Region Soccer Show.
Geelong Region Soccer Show. Thank you very much for that.
Just before we leave, guys, I've got a bit of a challenge for the two of you. Both of you are over 35. I think next season we need to see you at least in one game. I'll pay you, Red Joe, for the pair of you. You need to strap the boots on and have a kick yourself, lads.
Absolutely.
Steve's not over 35. I thought he was about 23.
That's exactly right, Ross.
Steve's fast approaching. We'll have to get our colleague from the Football Out West show as well, Craig Filer. He'll have to play. He could play this goalkeeper, and nothing will get past him or his belly.
We met him in the green room last year, and he needs to play.
Absolutely. Gents,
well, that sounds great, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us and being a part of tonight's show. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to hearing more about the Masters later on in the as we progress in the season. Good on you.
Cheers, guys.
That was where are we? There's Simon.
My audio just went out to this. See you later, Simon and Ross. My audio just changed from my headphones to the computer, which was interesting, and then changed itself back. So that was good. Now, that was a good chat with the guys. And there you go. They've thrown down the challenge for us to pull boots on next year. So look out. We've got 12 months to prepare.
Now, we're going to bring on Chilla from Colo Brewing Company. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? And he's one of the main sponsors.
A tasty mouthful from what I hear.
It is a tasty mouthful. And there's Chilla on the screen. Chilla, an absolute pleasure to have you on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. Mate, first of all, how did you come about getting involved with the Masters Summer League? Did you hear about it first and approach the guys, or the guys approach you? How did that come about?
It's actually those guys in the background. So it was Surfside, but now obviously Brewery Colo FC.
Yep.
A couple of regulars, I'd call them. We're always drinking, and they're always having a few sidebar chats. And then one of them mustered up the courage to come up and ask. No, not really. But I'm pretty friendly, so I just have a lot of chats with the guys and found out they're playing the Masters League, Summer League, and said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then they just asked. So, and it's something that we're all about anyway. So community sport and things like that, local support to stuff like this, and men's health to boot. So I'm over 35 as well. So it's something I'm very, very keen, as we are the company Brewery Colo, is to sort of support this sort of thing.
Have you been roped into playing any minutes yourself, Chilla?
Yeah, I mean, every weekend when I'm standing at the bar,
great.
You should come and play. So I'm actually an old rugby guy, so my knees and shoulders are all shot. But as you said, Paul, they were saying you don't need to have any skill or anything like that, which is me to a T. So I'll be keen to have a go, but a bit biased having one of the major sponsors running out. So right. I'll give it a go. I'll give anything a go. So yeah.
Now, Chilla, the beer. We got to talk about the beer.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this. This is incredible. Masters Summer League has its own ale. It says there on the slide, summer ale. What does that mean, summer ale? What are some of the ingredients in there, and how did you arrive at that? Do you have your own, obviously, brewer?
It was actually a bit of a product development with. So we had Ross, Simon, and Barb's come into the brewery, and I just asked them straight out, what kind of beers do you like? So they said, it was a bit kind of disjointed. So I just sort of brought some products together, so some samples, and tried out, and they sort of settled on another product that was a summer ale. And then we chatted about, what the aroma and sort of the finish or the profile of the beers, and sort of tried those out. And we came to a final idea. And then I sort of winging a prayer, brewed up a batch, and it was good. So they liked it, and then now that's the product we run at. And so the other things that we're looking for a lower alcohol beer that can be enjoyed, and things like that. So that it sort of encompassed the whole spirit of the comp. So it was a process of about probably good 8 weeks. From conceptualizing the beer all the way to coming in and having a finished product, and in that process we sort of sat down and went through label design and things like that. So yeah, went through the whole gamut of. It's exactly what we do when we contract brew or we brew for someone else. We develop something. So we just sat down and went through the same process, and yeah, it came out with this.
Well, it's a great label design. And what other beers do you have in your range at the moment at Brewery Colo aside from the Masters League sponsored Summer Ale?
So quite a few. So we actually have about, well, my little black book has over 20 different recipes, but any one time we have 8 different beers on tap. And I'm more of a malty kind of guy as opposed to hoppy. So I like all those, rich brown ales or the darker full-bodied ales. But yeah, so we've got a red and a brown ale and a pale ale, so those full colour range there. And we've got a Ocean Grove Lager, which is our sort of signature beer, which is a Pilsner, like nice, clean, crisp sort of beer. And then we've got an English bitter, so which is quite popular with a lot of guys, especially myself. So Bowen Ed. So we sort of try to bring in the whole sort of region and naming our beers, as well as sort of a lot of Fijian inspiration to the beers, which is my heritage. So yeah.
I was going to ask actually, what is that heritage, Chiller? And you just mentioned it, Fiji, and it's interesting. A lot of different cultures have their own particular style. It's a bit like football, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah.
The countries of the world all have their own unique style of playing the same game, but just done differently. And I guess,
right. And poignantly, we've got the OFC qualifiers for the World Cup happening in starting next weekend as well. So it's quite poignant with that as well. Fiji will be playing, so that's exciting. Have you got a shop front? And if so, do you get a few of the Masters guys popping in?
Yeah, so we've got our brewery, which also has a tap room. It's in the industrial area in Ocean Grove, so just down the road from the fields. And yeah, I mean, after the local games, it's always open to any of the guys who participate in the comp to come through, have a beer or whatever. Brewery Colo FC are always regulars there. It's sort of like they have a bit of a debrief session and things like that, which is cool. So it's always nice to have the guys there and chat and sort of but it's in the Marine Parade, 32 Marine Parade in Ocean Grove, which you can't miss it. It's got our signage all over the front. So yeah, across the road from the pie shop. So if you really a beer and a pie, perfect.
Beer and a pie,
ideally located.
Absolutely.
Near Shell Reserve, near a pie shop, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Thank you very much for being a part of tonight's Geelong Region Soccer Show. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you for being involved with the Masters Summer League. And we'll certainly look forward to hearing some really good news about Brewery Colo in down the track. So good on you. Thanks for joining us, Chiller.
No worries, thanks, and looking
Chiller.
forward to see where the league sort of progresses over the next few years. Exciting.
We do too. We certainly do too here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Good night, Chiller. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Chiller.
Chiller from Brewery Colo, and it's just me and you, Steve, left behind. That brings us pretty much to the end of the show. It has been another ripper show tonight. A very different type of show compared to what we had last week. Last week we had Galaxy United. Last week all the focus was on the females. Tonight it was all the focus on the more mature men, let's call it that. And next week we'll probably have more of a focus on the younger players. With Lara United Football Club. They will be our club in focus. Thank you very much to their sponsor, J Hill Bookkeeping, Judy Hill out at J Hill Bookkeeping. Looking forward to that, mate. Should be a great weekend coming up.
That'll be great. And just one last bit of housekeeping as well from Ross and Simon as well. The finals will be at Howard Glover Reserve for the Masters Summer League, and they're sponsored by the City of Greater Geelong, actually, which is fantastic. And they'll be on the 2nd of April. So if you can put that date in your diary, maybe get along and check it out and see what it's all about and try some Brewery Colo as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. That's April the 2nd. Should be fantastic. And, mate, until next week, thank you for being a part of this show. Thank you, the viewers and listeners, for being a part of this show. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you all again next Monday night at 8 p.m. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.